Hi everyone, so today we're going to show you how to add in the fertiliser application you will be doing at PI. So I'm hoping you've watched the video before this to actually enter in what your PI date actually is into the system. But you will see on my screen, as always, we've got Rappel on the right hand side and all the green buttons on the left hand side. We will come into this nutrient button, and this is really similar to what you've already done prior when you were popping in your nutrient applications from earlier on in the season. So we're going to click that nutrient button there, and you'll see that you've still got the map on the right and those paddocks in green, which is where we have planted rice into back in October. So you will see with event setup, we obviously want to make sure that that is on actual, which it already will be. And if we zoom in, you will see that I'm going to click on board 17, and that will be highlighted in yellow. And it will also come up in the list on the left-hand side as well, that you'll see whole crops. Then what we want to do is actually pop in the date that the plane went over the paddock. So this paddock in particular actually PI'd on the 5th of January, but we didn't manage to spread our urea with an aeroplane until the 7th. So we will choose the 7th because we're trying to capture the date that the plane went over the paddock. So just ensure that that's the case there. Then we'll come down a little bit, and where it says growth stage, we will click that button and we will actually pop in PI. So if we click PI there, and then we've got the whole crops there, and then we can click next. Then from that perspective, we obviously want to be able to pop in that it was urea. So it's very straightforward in terms of what you would have already done in the past. So we click the drop down box and we'll choose urea from the list. From an application method perspective, it was aerially spread, so we'll click that. And then my rate was 100 kilos, per hectare. So we've got to choose that one with the drop down box. And then we will go next. Then you'll see that the plane went over on the 7th of January. It's the whole paddock, and you will see that it's 100 kilos of urea. And then we're just going to click save. And then that event has now been saved successfully for that particular paddock. If we actually variable rated at PI, or it wasn't the whole paddock, or particular bays had different things going on, what we will do is click back that nutrient button and come into this screen. And then we will click Ward 17 again. And you will see that I'll just properly put the date in. So we'll say the 7th of January again, that the plane went over and the growth stage was at PI. Here you'll see that it says whole crops, and then there's this little edit or delete button. So if we only top dressed this particular paddock at 100 kilos for 3 of the bays, we're actually going to click that edit spatial option button, and it's going to bring up this next screen where we have the ability to make those changes. So you can drag the points. So it was these 2 bays on the right hand side were the ones that had 100 kilos per hectare. And then you can actually delete these buttons by holding the shift key on the keyboard and then clicking the dot, and it will disappear. And then we will pull this one back so that you can see that that's those 2 bays like that. And then we will actually click on that little button on the left hand side again so that it comes up with Ward 17 Rosique again in yellow, just to confirm that that's the drawing, and then we'll click save. So now you can see that for this particular paddock, only 2 of those bays are now selected that have had that particular rate. So we will go next again, and we will choose urea. Sorry. It was aerially done at 100 kilos per hectare. Next. And then just double check all the details before clicking save. So that was saved successfully. If we were wanting to go back in and say the other bays in that paddock had 125 kilos, it's the same process, and we would just go back in and click the paddock, but then edit the drawing and go through it that way. If we variable rated across the entire paddock, we'll still go into this nutrient button here. And what we will do is we'll just pop in the right dates. So the 7th of January, it was obviously at PI, and it was Ward 17 in the whole paddock. We'll go next and we'll choose urea. Application method was aerially done. And then my variable rate was actually between 100 and 200 kilos. So I'm just going to choose the average. MapRice doesn't have the ability of understanding variable rate technology. So we're just going to put the mean number in between there. And then kilograms per hectare. And then we will save that. You actually do have the option, if you wanted to click back, and you can pop comments in this box. So I can say here that the paddock was variable rated, and then that information will translate back into the program as well, so that we have those records of that's what happened. And then it's just a matter of clicking that save button. So that is how you add in your fertilizer application for your top dressing at PI. If you have any issues at all, please feel free to ring Grower Services, which is this number up the top here. Otherwise, Alistair Clark or myself are happy to take any calls. If you're receiving red error messages down the bottom, please just ring us. It will be much, much easier. Otherwise, you'll spend 3 hours in the office and not get anything done. So yeah, error messages, just feel free to give us a call. All right, thanks so much, everyone.